Greetings, greetings, and God bless you, brothers and sisters, friends and foes, the lovers and the many haters as well of the truth of God. We are back in the early hours, with another TNT news break. Many of you have heard the news already. Many of you can see the headline here on the screen. Safe to say it doesn't take a lot of opening up to understand what is taking place. The title of today's news feed is President Trump takes over Venezuela. The president of Venezuela, Maduro, and his wife, pictured here on the screen, have been captured. And we're going to do a deep dive and a fact check to make sure we got all the information to understand exactly what has happened here. So today, January 3rd, not even 3 days into 2026, and we see already something explosive and probably something that's never been seen before in recent history, at least, in regards to the United States military strike on Venezuela. Posted and pinned in the chat. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Did President Trump make the right decision? Or do you agree with President Trump's decision? If so, let it be known. If not, tell me why. It's pretty complex. It's not just something that is a simple answer. So feel free to click the link. As you know, all are welcome, all are loved, and all are prayed for. Before I dive into the news here, before we dive into the news, again, President Trump authorized a military strike on Venezuela. The result was the capture of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. President Trump came out, did a press conference, boldly announced that the United States will temporarily run the country. Or, in other words, Trump has taken over Venezuela. That's it. It's pretty simple. Joined early on the podcast by my brother Jamon Williams, calling in from AZ. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, brother. Glory be to God. We're here another day. You know, doing all right, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm very thankful, very blessed. I want to take a moment to say happy birthday to my wonderful wife, Mrs. TNT. Had a great birthday yesterday.
Nice, nice. Happy birthday, sister.
Amen. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. But yeah, no, very,
Amen.
very happy, very grateful. But I'm also very shocked.
Yeah,
I'm pretty shocked. I mean, we see on CNN, Fox, Reuters, New York Times.
yeah.
Um,
I
this
woke up. It was headlines.
right, right. If you've been glued to the news, you know already. Explosions lit up
Yeah.
Caracas early this
It
morning.
wasn't no fireworks neither.
No, sir. They drug him out his bed, brother Jamont.
Yeah.
They drug him out
You
of
know
his
them
bed.
seals ain't nothing nice, man. Them seals, they ain't nothing nice.
Hey, hey, guaranteed. They said mission accomplished.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mission accomplished.
You know. I'm sure you know it was well planned, well organized, and something that no one knew was going to happen until it happened. You know, uh, yeah, it was very surprising. Something that I've never seen the government do before. Um,
Yeah.
is
You know.
take someone prisoner. I've never seen that before.
Well, my reaching out to my pops early in the morning. He
Hmm.
said that this happened, not this specifically, obviously, but something similar happened in regards to
Yeah.
Panama with Ronald Reagan, and they took Noriega and put him into prison.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
But it begs the question. So a lot of people are saying that what he did was right. Some people saying what he did was wrong. It begs the question, right? We know Noriega, obviously popular for
Oh,
being responsible
traffic.
for the cartels, the drugs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And likewise, I'm not putting anything on nobody, but that's what Trump is saying is the reason why this took
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, y'all been pushing drugs into the country,
Mhm.
and really, all we want to do here, because I want to make it clear, I haven't taken any sides, but what we're
Yeah.
not trying to hype anything up. This is just verified information,
Yeah.
and this is a fact check deep dive into a day that is very historic, Brother Jaman, for our country and for theirs. Safe to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Because I also heard that the United States is also going to be running Venezuela until they have a new election for a president.
Right,
So
right.
you know,
And Trump, I mean, this man, Trump, he knows how to get some headlines. He posted a picture of him handcuffed aboard a U.S. warship.
yeah, yeah,
So
you know,
we're gonna break it down step by step, the timeline, the backstory, details of the operation, the legal angles of it, and the
hmm
long-term impacts on not just on Venezuela but on the U.S. because a lot of people are looking.
yeah. A
People
lot
are
of people
looking.
are looking.
They like,
Yeah,
hold up,
the whole
y'all just
world's watching.
right. You just ran up in there.
Yeah. Well, if I'll be honest, I agree and I don't agree. I agree to the point that yeah, we need to stop drugs entering into America because, as we all know, drugs ruin lives and they're no good. They're just no good. Any way you
Facts.
put it, it's no good. I don't agree because I know he had to unalive a lot of people just to get into his bedroom.
So
So
that's a good point. He had guards, right? He military
yeah,
installation, not
yeah,
military bases. So if you're, I'm not going to say strengthening the hands of an evildoer, but if you're employed by somebody and you know what they do,
yeah.
and then you know what I'm saying, then you're aware. Oh, they said what? They coming. Might not want to show up for work that day. I'm
You
just saying
might
me.
not want to
I'm not coming. Look,
call in
I'm
sick. Use your PTO.
PTO the whole month, so y'all get this figured out.
Oh man, yeah.
But like you said, the Navy SEALs and they don't play. You gave them the green light, and really, before I go into this fact checked play by play, which pulls from eyewitness accounts, official statements, reports from Al Jazeera, NPR, CNN,
Mm-hmm.
so it's across the globe, right? We're not just going off American news.
Mm-mm.
Um, but my brother Jaman, he gives a good point. He said he agree and disagree, and a lot of people feel that way. It's not just black and white. Um,
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of people impacted by it. But I want to go to the chat real quick, brother Jaman, real quick, and then come right
Yeah.
back, see what's going on here. Uh, First and foremost, greetings, 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 and God bless my beautiful, beloved sister Nicole Barkus in the chat. We thank the Lord for her. She said Trump is a warhead. He is starting stuff with these people, stirring them up besides leaving them alone. Uh-oh. It's a hot take. Uh-oh. Let's see what my other brothers in the chat. Shout out to MP. Greetings and God bless you, brother. I appreciate you. I want to wish you and your family a prosperous Happy New Year as well to my brother MP from across the way. Greetings and God bless to my brother Uso Drago. He said, God bless America and all those that are serving. Brother TNT. And he says, got him and his wife. That's a fact. Divided population, U.S. says USA invaded Venezuela. I don't know if it was an invasion. There was an operation that was conducted, but invasion, I don't know if that was what qualifies. I don't know. Um, Sir Leatherface said the best, the great. Greetings, God bless you. Shout out to you. Divided population kind of touches on an important point that my brother Jamon said. He said coke and fentanyl is pouring into the states now. I mean, that's an important part of this. Um, and some people have more. let me say, experience with that directly in regards to how that impacts lives and changes lives for the worse, not for the better. So yeah, he's right. We know that's been happening for a while, for sure. Greetings and God bless my brother Holiness 1980. Shout out to brother Elliot and his family. Greetings and God bless Sister Connie Adams. Who else we got in here? Who else we got in here? Um, let's see here. Shout out to our sister Bless, one of our wonderful moderators. God bless you, sister. We thank the Lord for you. Where we at? Where we at? Uso Drago says Maduro held his position without being voted in. Get him, U.S. So that's where a lot of people call him a dictator. Um, Uso Drago says Trump freed the people. If they've been under his rule without voting him in, that's a problem for sure.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants a dictator, Brother Jamon. Um, I think that's safe to say. No country wants a dictator.
Yeah,
Um, but maybe some people there did like him. We don't know. If you're in Venezuela, click the link. Link.
let us know.
Greetings and God bless the sister Toy Lynn. We thank the Lord for her. Kenneth Moratti, he said 47% think Trump can't do any good. Let me look at the poll where we at. So it's a 50-50 split. 100 votes, 50 said no, 50 said yes. As far as agreeing with President Trump's decision, maybe we could shed some light on helping people to understand what happened, the capacity of what happened, and essentially what it means, for those involved. Because safe to say, a lot of people may not simply know exactly what all of this means. Scotty D, shout out to him. He said, promises made, promises kept. Thank you, President Trump, for keeping your promises of keeping America safe. Mm, mm. Hard to, I mean, Trump did talk a lot about what was going to happen. He definitely talked a lot about what was going to happen when he came into office. We got our brother Elliot calling in from NC. Greetings and God bless you, brother. How you doing?
Greetings, brothers. Greetings, chat. Hope everybody's doing having a blessed day.
Amen. What a lovely day, as my brother Elliot would say. It's a wonderful day.
It's
Amen.
a
It's a
wonderful day.
wonderful
Yes.
day.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So before we jump into the background of this, we got a really good. I think brother Elliot's a really good person to give us his take on it, if he chooses to do so. His opinion, I should say, because brother Elliot is in law enforcement. We appreciate, respect, and thank the Lord for his commitment and for his sacrifice and for his service. So he has a very, I think, impactful view behind this as a law enforcement officer. Brother Elliot, what say ye on this particular topic? Do you agree with Trump's decision?
Well, I agree. I agree because uh you see when you're in a certain position,
Hmm.
you really don't know exactly what's really going on when it comes from all the way up, right? For example, if the sheriff is the head of everybody that's below him, and he has to govern us based on his decisions. Some we might not understand because we not understand because we don't know the fire is that we have to get rid of, right? We might not agree with it, but it's necessary, right? We don't
A
know.
necessary action. I hear you.
Yes, it's in a way it's necessary, and people don't see the positive out of it because he just went there and do whatever yada 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 yada. But if you think
Mm.
about all the drugs and all that stuff that he's taking care of. I mean, you have to get rid of something, People don't
Hmm.
look at the negative part of what the decisions he has to make. You have to make a decision and deal with the consequences later. My personal opinion is some people in Venezuela, they might be happy. Some might be happy.
Yeah.
Some not going to be happy based on how it was done. But as Mr. Rubio says, uh, this guy was in there for three administrations and no one did anything, knowing he
Mm.
wasn't supposed to be there.
It's a good point. Good point.
You know, so that's my personal opinion. When you're in a position of power, some decisions I don't think any decision he makes, people are going to agree with it because people are looking at it at a small aspect, as into the entire picture.
Mm.
To give an example earlier, when the military guy was saying they cannot give you the details of the military, why do you think that? Because there's stuff behind the scenes that going on that we don't need to know,
For sure. For sure.
and we're not gonna know.
That's facts.
So
Facts.
that's pretty much my intake on that.
All right. So just to make it, plain, brother Elliot saying, he agrees with this having had to be done, right?
Yeah, it's a necessary
This
evil,
needed to
pretty
be done.
much. It's necessary
All
evil.
right.
You have someone that's dictating the countries, that's supposedly dictating the country, and it's not the first time. Uh,
Yeah.
what's the name of the what's the name of that guy that Hussein, whatever his name is? He did
Oh,
the same thing
Saddam.
to his country. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, so
you killing your own people and all that stuff. I mean,
that begs the question, is it an overreach of power? Is it justified? Brother Elliot is saying, look, it's a necessary evil. I agree with him on points in regards to being drug related. I don't disagree with what he's saying at all. Um, the just to play the other side of this, and I'm gonna jump into the facts before I want to greet my brother Gino P, calling all the way from Uptown. God bless him.
Peace, peace,
Um,
peace.
peace, bro,
and so
Gina P.
we're gonna hear Gino P's take on this as well in a minute. But um, brother Elliot, in response to what you said, I just asked the question fairly. Dictatorships across the world, right? From whatever country. Um, does this mean the U.S. has authority to do this for all dictatorships, or is this fair ground given that it's in our neck of the woods, for lack of a better word? Because it is pouring into our country, right? So affecting our population. We have several brothers on the panel, including Brother Elliot, who have direct contact with the fact that drugs pouring into the country are affecting people in a horrible way. So they have firsthand account of this. I would say, again, in that regard, I understand what he's saying is affecting us most definitely. I just ask in return, Brother Elliot, would this give Trump the green light to go after every dictatorship or just those that are affecting America?
I don't think he should go in. I mean, if you do for one, you do for all. What I'm saying?
Hey,
you
that's
know, it's like
that's where I'm at.
being in the jail, right? And you see someone, they give someone the honey bun, and then all the other inmates see it. All the other inmates that doesn't get the honey bun, they're gonna be mad. So you can't give the one. If you're gonna
Yeah,
give one, give all. If you're not gonna give any, don't give any. So I guess it depends on, as I said, we don't know exactly what ties they have or they don't have
yeah,
to certain countries. So they know who they can touch and can't touch. The president know that. So I
yeah.
mean, this is just my take on it.
I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that for sure. So let me dive into these facts real quick, and then I'm gonna come back for my brother Gino P and my brother Jamon's take as well. Gino P, I appreciate your patience, brother, and get right to you. But I just want to give the people a detailed account. This is a fact checked play by play. Okay, so everything kicked off around 2 a.m. Caracas time. So that's 1 a.m. East Coast time. Residents reported hearing low flying aircraft followed by explosions. And these explosions were happening at the largest military base in Venezuela, La Calata Air Base, the port of La Guarara, And Gino P, correct me with my pronunciation. Feel free for sure. But even the legislative building was on fire. So there's photos, there's videos, burned vehicles, the streets were emptied. It was basically a war zone. No major civilian casualties were reported thus far. They are confirming that the strikes were precise in regards to targeting military only infrastructure. So, not looked at as like an act of terrorism. We're hitting the Venezuelan people. We're just hitting the Venezuelan government, which, like my brother Elliot said, they had not been voted in, and several U.S. presidents in office had done nothing about it concerning that in the drug issue that's plaguing America. So, fact check. There are initial reports of blackouts and chaos, which are accurate. Venezuelan officials claim that the residential areas were hit too, but the U.S. sources deny this. Now, there's probably a little bit of overgap or overlay, if you will. I mean, the soldiers obviously have to reside somewhere, right? So, if they're striking places where the military forces reside and they reside in residential areas, then I'm sure there's a little bit of an overgap. Um, There was a Chinese delegation reportedly caught in the crossfire, so that adds a diplomatic issue to it. Of course, we haven't seen any of the backlash quite yet from any other country in regards to what they feel about this. At the heart of it was the elite U.S. units, specifically known as the Delta Force. It was supported by 150 aircraft. The FBI team codename was Operation Absolute Resolve. So there's a lot of information on this. They raided Maduro's fortified residence, came to his house. Okay. Sources from CNN say that he and his wife were drugged from their bedroom. So you sleeping, you tucked in, you cuddling up. Next thing you
Mm.
know, snap, crackle, pop. Somebody's coming in, geared up, and dragging you out. So that's it's a serious thing for sure. Pretty scary stuff. They were blindfolded and thrown on a helicopter. You out of there. There were no U.S. fatalities reported. A few troops had minor wounds from shrapnel of bullets, and one helicopter took fire but remained operational. Basically, they're saying they executed a perfect operation. There was no casualties. Um, you know, very few injuries. I mean, somebody sounded like they got a band-aid or two. So that's pretty impressive. The fact that they were able to storm the president's personal fortified residence. Fortified means, you know, they had things set up to prevent this from happening. But clearly not.
Or they had inside, right? Inside
Oh,
help.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, the intel. I mean, we know. I mean, it's America, right? So they probably had robots and all kind of stuff up in there listening.
Bunch of snitches.
No, the Venezuelan people that wanted him out,
That too, right? There's guaranteed somebody gave him the keys to the gate, right?
100%.
So that's the important part too. That's the important part. My brother Uso Drago said 3 hours in and out. That's very quick.
Yeah,
Concerning, I mean, this is the president of a whole country. He's got
that,
fighter jets, all that.
that's definitely an inside job,
Wow.
inside help for sure, but what a way to pivot from the Epstein files, right when they
I
were right,
mean,
when man,
you
what a way to pivot.
Like
I'm not.
that never happened.
Yeah, what a way to pivot.
I'm not disagreeing with you. So,
What a
you know,
timely event, no? Right when the Epstein files was real good.
right. A lot of people say this mirrors what happened in '89 with the Panama invasion, except this was faster. They said it took place in under an hour. Prep started around mid-December, delayed by weather, and then obviously out January, Trump turned on the green light. 4:21 a.m. Eastern time, so around 3 hours, like my brother Uso Drago said, from beginning to end. President Trump posted on social media. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. So he aired it. He didn't even, he's like, look, I want you to know this took place. I'm not hiding this from anybody. I want y'all to know what happened. And then he posted a photo of Maduro handcuffed aboard the USS Iwo Jima. So Trump saying he watched the raid in real time from his probably his bedroom in Mar-a-Lago, like a television show.
Hmm.
Um, and that Maduro rejected last-minute offers to surrender. So now he's en route to New York, your neck of the woods, Gino P, to Guantanamo Bay, expected to arrive today for arraignment. So I got a short clip that I'm gonna play. Then we're gonna come back for my brother's take on this. I mean, this is a lot's going down here. Very quickly. I mean, it's the third day into 2026, and Trump's already taken over another country. I mean, that is what it
Gonna
is.
backfire. It's gonna backfire on him. But play the clip, yeah. So and it's gonna backfire. This was a huge gamble. This was a 4 o'clock gamble when you lost every chip, all chips. You know, you feel me? When you in the gambling spot and this is a hail mary, hoping that it work out. Cause even a blind man can see this is a cash grab. This is oil.
There was some oil seized recently. That's
Nah,
facts.
I'm talking about out of Trump's mouth. Out of
Oh,
Trump's
just
mouth.
just the whole thing in general. Just
Yeah, he want to take over. He want to take over their infrastructure. But go ahead, play. But yeah, this wasn't out of love, because
no. That,
if it was that, what about the dictator of Haiti,
hmm.
Captain Barbecue?
Well,
Who?
that's what I
You
was
feel me?
asking, brother Elliot. And we'll get right to that. You know, if we're gonna get right to that, let me just play this short clip. It's real short. This is official. This is President Trump coming out press conference to talk about what took place.
Okay, thank you very much. This is big stuff. We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, maybe like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far, with capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a total bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so.
So let me take it
Jeez, what a bunch of ramble.
from. I didn't
And
mean to let it play that long, P.
no,
That's
but
my
this
fault.
guy,
I
this guy could just ramble his mind,
We had situations.
ramble Trump. This guy could
But
ramble. But yeah,
wait.
now the chat is jumping though. There's a lot of
Going
hot
crazy.
takes. That there's a lot of good takes in that
I'm about to slow
in
the
the
chat down.
chat.
I can't.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
I,
chats.
Let
I
me
mean,
say thank you
a
to
lot
my
of good takes.
moderators. I appreciate my moderators holding it down in the chat. We got 286 of y'all, so you know, let everyone feel that their own opinion, they're entitled to it.
Now
It's
there's some
valid.
good takes. There's some good takes in the chat
A lot
that
of
I
good
agree
takes.
with. So there's some that is just foolish, but I agree.
So let's touch on this here. Last thing that Trump said was, "We'll strike again if necessary."
Oh
What
yeah,
what
there's
is
there's I have a clip. I have a clip here. First of all, I have a clip, and I'll let the clip explain it a little bit better. But the first part of his statement that we'll take over
hmm
until right a transition, he can't, and that's why it's gonna backfire, because according to the Venezuelan constitution, the vice president is president now, and there is a timeline
hmm
for election now. Now that the president is, I'll pull up the clip and let it
Yes, sir. But so
and let
Gino
it
P, real
explain
quick though,
itself. Go
what are
ahead,
your
bro.
thoughts on as far as agreeing with Trump's decision to, because this wasn't just an arrest, this was a whole regime decapitation. I mean, this is comparable to the Bin Laden raid, but it was against the head of a state versus the head of, Al Qaeda. Um, I mean, what is? I want to know your opinion, I guess, in regards to Venezuela under Maduro, once oil wealthy, world's largest reserve, now collapsed into hyperinflation. Over 7 million refugees left, humanitarian crisis. I mean, the list goes on and on. Maduro's 2024 quote unquote re-election was rigged per international observers. The biggest beef between the U.S. and Venezuela, or not Venezuela, but Maduro, let me say that, because we don't have anything against Venezuelans, of course. But the biggest issue that Trump has with Maduro is that he was accused of leading the Cartel de los Soles, and you could correct my pronunciation, De Los Soles.
That's a
So
reach. Is a reach.
that's just what he's
Was
accused.
was Maduro a saint? No.
Right.
Was he corrupt? Of course. Was
Okay.
he a dictator? 100%.
Okay.
Um.
So what is your take? Was this necessary? Was this needed to happen? Do you agree that this happened?
Well,
Let me.
it happened because he just said why. Because big oil companies are gonna go there and take over.
No, okay. I mean, do you agree? I guess the way it happened, that he was snatched out of bed. Hey, you're not president no more. You're going to face trial in New York. Do you agree with those things?
No. Well,
And
can
if
I
you're not
say?
sure yet, that's fair too. That's
You
fair enough.
know. Was he a criminal? Yeah. Was he a fugitive of the United States? No. If he was a fugitive of the United States, I understand, right? Or he was uh yeah, I don't I this is unprecedented. So
Hmm.
there ain't a clear answer, right? To say, I'm against it, right? Because I know he was a criminal. But
Hmm.
am I for it? Because he opens up Pandora's box now. Now China could say, "Hey, Taiwan, Taiwan looking nice over there. I might
Hmm.
want to step in and take over Taiwan." Look at that's the same spirit, same mindset Putin had as far as with Ukraine. You know, so can you step in and take out a whole president? You're not president no more. This is
Well,
unprecedented. Been done before.
never been done in
You
this way
know,
for sure. Now,
just clear. Because Trump, he leans fascist. This is what fascists do, right? We seen fascist leadership go to the extreme,
hmm,
and when you go to the extreme, sometimes it don't work out. This is a huge gamble. Like I made reference earlier to,
hmm.
that last gamble in the casino, all in. It could
Oh,
backfire. It
sure,
could work.
for sure.
Could
Um,
backfire. It could work.
Now, there's a lot of people in the chat like Scotty D. 341. He said Venezuelans are celebrating and dancing in the streets. They've been liberated. Brother Uso
Nah,
Drago said the same thing. I'm not
nah,
there, so you let me know.
nah. Yeah, pull up the clip. What clip y'all watching? What internet y'all on?
Well, I mean, so you said he was a dictator, right, Gino P?
Dictator, of course.
Okay, so just on that strength alone, if the people want him out and he's a dictator, he's not finna leave, right? Unless he's forced. Just to ask an honest question,
Uh,
in all fairness, right? A
of
dictator's not
course,
gonna
of
right.
course there's opposition, right? Because the famous dictators and as far as fascists, and you look up fascists, you look it up, brother Uso. Look up what fascists mean. What do you know what fascists mean? Because I used to be
I'm just,
socialist. I was a
no, I'm
socialist.
just saying on the strength of Maduro.
No, no, I'm just talking about
And
just brother Drago asked me a question, so I
I
was
got you.
telling him. But I
But no,
was
I
a
mean, like, so if
socialist,
the
so I
dictator
know
was
fascism. Fascism is real close, right?
I
And
hear you. Do you
uh,
feel that it's okay though? I guess for the people to celebrate, knowing that they probably didn't want him in power. In all honesty,
well, he has opposition. He has opposition, of course. How you think this operation happened? It happened with Maduro's opposition.
hmm.
His opposition helped these people come in. The SEALs. Because
So,
if the whole country was jacking him, this wouldn't have happened.
well, yeah, right. So if you're right, if the entire country, but even if the entire country didn't support him, like we don't, everyone in America doesn't support Trump, but he was voted in a quote unquote legal due process, right? Like, I mean, there was votes. People feel like they had their say. Some didn't want him, some did. The majority won. So I'm just saying that's very different than how Maduro is in power, right? At the dictatorship, they're saying, "Hey, his election was rigged. The people didn't have a choice at all." That's
A
all. I'm
lot,
asking.
but a lot of elections are rigged. Let's be honest, because if we want to talk about dictator, look at Netanyahu over there in Israel. How long he's been in power?
Fair enough.
He's
Fair
been in
enough.
power. He's been in power for a long, long time.
I hear you. So
But
so then that goes to the next question. Then does it matter more so because what is happening in Venezuela is directly impacting the U.S. as far as the drugs, fentanyl, whatever.
uh,
The list goes on and on.
Venezuela was never known as you know a big time nothing like that. Everyone knows that it comes from Mexico. The problem is
Well,
in Mexico.
well, they're saying primarily, cocaine comes from Venezuela, as far as a transit hub for trafficking to the U.S.
Yeah,
And
but it ain't like Mexico.
I no, I look, I don't know either way. I'm just saying
Not
what's
Mexico.
being said is that they're trafficking drugs into the country
Of
off the
course,
route that.
Maduro's probably down with the drug stuff. He's probably not down with it, but he gets a cut.
Well, I mean,
So,
if he's in power, right?
huh?
If he's in power, then he has to. He's either fighting it or allowing it. Safe to say.
Yeah, he turns a blind eye. His underlings deal with it, right? The generals and the people under him are the ones that are in contact with the cartels and tell them, all right, bring it through this mountain at such and such time. We'll pick it up. You feel me?
Yeah.
So
So, in response to what he said, President Trump said, "Look, we could have killed him. We chose capture."
same thing. He's gonna die in the jail.
Yeah, because
Ah,
remember, they give him plenty of opportunity, plenty of deals, but he reject everything. So
that is true. That is
yeah, he
true.
did. They give him opportunity to do whatever he need to do, but he didn't. So
Yeah. Yeah, there were pleas for negotiation, is what a lot of people are saying in regards to before this happened. They were offering him to turn himself over in a more peaceful manner versus being snatched.
I don't know. To me, this was a clear. There's an agenda behind it. It wasn't out of, oh, he's polluting the country with drugs. Nah, it's deeper than that.
Hmm.
This is deeper than that.
Well, I appreciate my brother Gino P's honest opinion to it. I think, as I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I think Gino P is trying to keep it square across the board. Like, look, we can't say that this man is the only dictator in the world, right? Other people in the chat, they say, well, look, why would Trump have to deal with all dictators versus one that's directly affecting America? Those are fair questions. In regards to
Yeah.
that, brother John, what's your take on this?
Um, my thing is he's the president of the United States. You know, uh, like brother Elliot was saying earlier, he has to make decisions that not everyone's going to agree with, but he's in power to make the best decision for America at the end of the day. Now, if there's a bigger agenda behind it, we'll find out maybe 30, 40 years later, like we always do. But I think him trying to go after every dictator is not his job. Now, if a country calls out for help, it's still it's in his position to say yes or no, because, again, he's not uh, just doing this for them. He has to consider, well, what's in it for us. You know what I mean? As far as America goes, I'm not saying us like, because I'm not fully, I don't fully agree with everything Trump does. At the
Mm.
end of the day, the man is crooked. The man is a devil, but that doesn't, uh, there's things that he does that I do agree with. I would say that, the inflation and everything, the gas prices, things of that
I got
nature, I agree with. But as far
this.
as him going after dictators,
Well, just
if
this,
there's a
just this one
dictator,
specific. This one, Maduro coming, taking over Venezuela temporarily. Just this, only this option, because I know we could definitely discuss
no.
worldwide, but just this here, what happened? What are you on the yay or the nay side for being in
Um,
agreement?
I agree with it. I definitely agree with it because one, the drugs that was coming from Venezuela was entering into America,
Mm,
uh, and he had like President Trump, the Venezuelan president had a chance and opportunity to stop it. I do believe, now this is my opinion, I do believe he was sending them out because of the way he got into the office and what was going on. I mean, even before the bombing of the boats and stuff like that, he was gathering citizens and training citizens on America coming and invading. So he was forcing the elderly, the young men, the women to arm themselves to try to fight against it, so that way they can continue to smuggle drugs through the water.
mm,
Now, um, I think he was doing it purposely. I think he was doing it because he was getting money off of it, and he felt like no one could touch him. But I do agree with Trump capturing him, placing him in prison. Like I said in the beginning, I don't. I say yes and no only because how how it took place, because I know that there were people that had to get unalive just for them to capture him. So I can't agree with the murder that takes place, but I do agree with capturing him and taking control over the country until someone who has better leadership can take over the country.
yeah,
But
fair
that's what
enough.
they said about Iraq when they toppled Saddam. We're gonna topple Saddam. We're gonna take over until somebody comes better. And look, where's Iraq now?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
This was a horrible gamble. It's not. This is a horrible gamble.
So let me
Big
say this real
big
quick, Gino.
gamble.
Not to interrupt. I agree. It's a gamble in regards to we don't know what the future holds. Just touching on the Iraq thing because we're gonna try to keep it pinhole to just
No, no,
Maduro
I
and
just
just
brought it up because right, it reminded me of the Iraq situation. We're gonna
no, yeah,
topple this dictator. There was oil also behind that too, and
right,
then
right. Well,
right,
that's
nothing was really done about it. But
well, if we look
I
at Iraq
digress.
now, no, no, you're right. I agree with you. If we look at Iraq now, they have a democratically elected government, right? They have a constitution with regular elections and a relatively free press. So there's change as far as whether that's good or bad. That's a complex question, right? But there has been change in regards to um, from the dictatorship that was under Saddam Hussein, which a lot of people said was brutal, right? Because he was doing whatever he wanted
They're
and
still
stuff like
fighting
that.
in Iraq, though. You know that, right?
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying in regards to how the people elect who's in charge of the government and the press being, able to fairly report on what they see fit. The country they're saying is generally more secure and stable than during the height of obviously when ISIS was there. Baghdad is considered relatively safe. Um, National Military Police have record high numbers in there as of 2023. So I'm not this isn't about Iraq, but I'm just saying we don't know what the outcome
Yeah,
will be. I agree,
but
but if we look back,
the
remove that dictator.
catastrophe, the catastrophe, the catastrophe that had to happen in order for it to, if it's running well. I know nothing of Iraq. Iraq
Right.
don't ring bells no more. But
Well, let me
the
say,
catastrophe that happened in between,
there's some people that say if you want to
the
make an
loss
omelet,
of
you got.
life, the loss, the loss of life.
I no, I agree, but then there's some people that say, look, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs. So there's
Yeah.
there's a dictator in power. Generally, it's better to remove him regardless of the means to do so. Yeah, there's going to be fallout. Yeah, there's going to be tough times, but they're saying going forward, generally, it's going to be better that a dictatorship has ended versus being allowed to go on. That's just the consensus as of looking back at Iraq. That's all. Just touching on
No,
that. Jim.
the reason why I touched on Iraq and good pivot on that. And you paused it as far as Trump talking about a second invasion. There's
Second
some
invasion.
yeah, there's some generals that ain't with this. Venezuelan generals.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
I'm sure a lot weren't.
yeah. I mean, they were put in their position agreeing with what was going on.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
that
None
If
of
you
them
disagree,
was against it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in that position.
it begs the question: what happened if you didn't go along with the
Yeah, you
status
could be
quo?
forced into it. Yeah. I mean, you'll lose your head or you do.
Right.
because the Colombians ain't gonna stop shipping. The route, the Venezuelan route to the Caribbean Sea. That's a prominent route. That route ain't stopping.
I mean, I guess there's a difference between saying, "Hey, this is happening. Are we either going to do something about it or let it persist?"
That route is gonna get rerouted, but that them
Right.
Colombians and sending them bricks still.
No, I agree. They're not going to stop the drug trafficking in 2026.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
not going to happen. But again, it begs the question: do they do anything about it? And then that's where people come in and say, "Hey, look, like Brother Elliot had a great point. There's been many regimes or many presidencies in America, and nobody has done anything about it."
That's
Versus,
a nah, because
I don't know.
the Caribbean Sea is too vast. Who could patrol a whole sea?
Wait, right,
Uh,
but they can't stop it all. But can you do something about it? I guess the difference between letting the boat flood or trying to get some of the water off,
Because
right?
sometimes the cartel will send a dummy boat like full with a ton. So
For sure.
they'll grab it. They say, "Oh, look, we caught a ton."
yeah.
But
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 also, did you know what you got to take in consideration is the technology that we have now?
Yeah,
Versus just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we didn't have the capability to survey, let's say, 600 yards of open
But
water.
brother Jaman, there are people in the U.S. government with it. There are people in the U.S. government with it that'll tell us, all right, listen, at such and such time, this corridor is open. You have your time right there.
But,
There's people in
but,
the U.S. government that are with it because the money's so big,
but we
I
don't
hear
know that for
you.
fact. We
bro.
don't know that for fact.
You never
I can't
you never
I
read.
can't
Hold on,
say for
brother
a fact.
Jaman. You never looked into the Iran Contra scandal. Not to digress, but look into that. You ever heard of
Yeah,
a brother? You ever heard of a brother named Ricky Ross from L.A.?
yeah, I know,
Ah.
but you gotta understand that's then we're looking at now.
Oh, that haven't
Even
stopped.
I mean,
Money,
I don't know.
the love of money is the root of all evil.
That is
So let me
true. I understand that.
But we
I'll let you
digress.
respond real quick.
That's another topic.
This is a good convo. This is a good conversation because this is fair
Yeah.
enough. What a lot of people are talking and thinking about. So I'm gonna let Brother Jamon respond real quick, and then I'm gonna touch on whether this was legal or not. And I want to hear from my law enforcement brother Elliot, Gino P, and of course our brother Jamon again. But go ahead, Jamon. Respond to the last thing Gino P had said.
Well, no, I was just saying that as it stands today, until there's a case brought up against somebody, we can't say for a fact that now and today there's going to be soldiers or generals or commanders that's leaking information. Because once something, I find it to be harder now than it was back then based on the technology now. The technology that we have now, it is more scoped, it is more watched, it is more monitored. And so with that aspect, if there's one or two out there that's doing it, maybe, but versus 20 or 30 of them doing it back then, I don't think it's to that degree, when it comes to allowing things through or opening up doors or opening up gateways to allow things to come through just because someone's getting a check. Nowadays, everything is tracked, money wise, paper wise, everything is tracked. And yeah, some things can get leaked through, but I think it's a lot harder nowadays to do stuff like that because of what happened in the past, like the Rick Ross and uh, uh, all the past events that happened. Because of that happened, it now sets a different standard today and a new security today. Just like how, and I'm gonna end on this real quick. Just like how back in the '80s, it was easy to rob a bank. All you needed was four guys, a couple of Uzis, and a couple of Mac 10s, and boom, you had yourself a good run. But now you try to rob a bank today, good luck. You know what I mean? I mean, everything is locked, secured, everything is bulletproof. They got cameras everywhere. They got a security guard in the building, a sleeper in the parking lot. So it just because of what happened in the past, they had to go this route and secure it a lot better. But I'll end it on that.
Well, my last point is I agree. It's not 20 or 30. It's never been many. It's always a small group of corrupt. Corruption starts small. It don't got to be big for it to cause a cancer. But
Yep.
there is a cancer. There is a cancer, and it's the drug epidemic is not just the drug dealer. Is America is the number one buyer of drugs, and it's
Yeah, that is true.
the Venezuelans don't get it. The Nicaraguans will. The Nicaraguans won't do it. The Puerto Rocks will. Someone will always supply the demand of America's hunger for drugs.
Yeah.
Enough. Fair enough. So let me pivot real quick and just do a fact check on whether this was legal or not. So there was no congressional okay to greenlight this operation. That's a fact.
Hmm.
But Trump is citing Article 2 in a Department of Justice warrant. Um, Critics, of course, there's always going to be critics and those who support. But the critics are saying it violates sovereignty, it revives Monroe Doctrine, and that Maduro faces 2020 charges plus new ones for state-sponsored gangs. So there's a trial in Manhattan. Gino P, close, that's close to you.
Yeah, man.
Uh, it
They're gonna put
might
him
be
in
a
the
couple
same jail
trials.
Diddy was in.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
like an hour and 30 minutes from me.
yeah. They're gonna put him in the same jail Diddy was in.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
stuff is crazy. All right. So hold on. So, um, as far as like people saying the U.S. running Venezuela
Yeah,
means it's going to be an interim government, the oil rebuild, but Trump is promising a safe transition. Of course, there's no timeline.
it's
That
tricky
could.
though, brother TNT,
I
because
know. I agree. I'm
according
just reading facts.
no
But
no
go ahead.
I hear you, but according to the Venezuelan constitution, the
Hmm.
lady there's a lady Delcy something.
Yeah.
She's the president now, because according to the constitution, the vice president takes over, and in the next 30 days, an election must be held. And whoever wins that election in the next 30 days is president for 6 years.
So I mean, but that might need to have happened in regards to just the fact that they were saying, "Hey, we didn't get a fair election last time Maduro
mhm.
power, and now we may get one because they're saying the U.S. will oversee that, right?"
But the vice president ain't jacking Trump. She's thinking Trump killed Maduro. Cause all she act. Let me play the clip real quick, and then we could let me pull it up. Bear with me. Like
Okay, yeah, that's no
it's
problem. But
crazy.
I just I asked these questions to my brothers on the panel before he plays the clip, brother Elliot, brother Jaman. What happens now in regards to this transition of power, like Gino P is saying, who's going to govern Venezuela? Is the military going to be split as far as like opposing or being in support? Does it not even matter? I mean, he's already flown out, right? So they don't even
Yeah,
have a perhaps. But the opposition is ready.
exactly.
Like Gino P said, there's always opposition, but U.S. oversight is not very clear on how they're going to ensure fair elections. But so, Brother Elliot, as a law enforcement individual on the panel, what's your take on this as far as you know what happens now?
Well, well, I fairly agree with these people. They communicate, right? Communication is a very big aspect of these things. They don't just go over there and start doing stuff. These are information
Right.
they have to gather. These are people they have to speak to. These are the policies they have to read and look into. Right? This is not no like okay 2 night investigation yada yada yada. These are things that takes time. Right? To do a warrant, there's stuff that you have to take in consideration. Policies, what they can and can't do. There's loopholes and stuff that people go around. Like the lawyers. Lawyers know all loopholes. They know what they can and can't do. Right? There's a lot of things that Trump just don't. You're not going to just go there and say, okay, I don't want Congress to do this. I'm going to go ahead and do that. He knows the policy where he have the power to do that. So these people could communicate.
Yeah,
So it's going to be fight back, sure, but maybe it's for the better. Who knows?
I hear you. I mean, it's up in the air, right, in regards to whether or not this will stabilize Venezuela or spark a backlash. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Only the Lord. But a good take from Brother Elliot. Brother Jaman, while Gino P's getting this clip fired up, what's your take on what happens now? What happens? Who goes forward? You know, the military, say for example, Brother Jaman, if they were standing around like, yeah, get him, and somebody
Yeah,
come back.
I think. Uh, my bad. What you saying?
No, I was just gonna say if somebody saw you like supporting him getting extradited or whatever, what could that possibly mean?
If someone saw him getting extradited.
Yeah, so like, Maduro got
Back.
pretty much extradited, right? Pulled from his country to
Oh,
trial.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My bad. I thought that meant going back to his country. I'm like, I don't think he's going back.
No, he ain't going back.
He ain't going back. But no, I think what that means is that one, I think the Venezuelan people as a whole Not all is going to agree with it, but I think as a whole, there's going to be majority of them that agrees with what happened because of how Venezuela was getting looked at. Venezuela, you know, used to be the vacation spot in the 80s. It used to be a spot where a lot of tourists used to go and, uh, uh, you know, vacate tourism. They got a lot of money just from visitors. You know what I mean? It was one of those spots, almost like Brazil or uh, a lot of different places, you know, because of the weather and things of that nature. But it changed up a lot. You know, you really don't hear about no tourism going on in Venezuela because of the name that it has gotten over the past years. Um, so I think, you know, majority of the people is going to appreciate that the dictator is gone and that they can actually elect someone who will be suitable for them. And I think
Yeah.
that that's why the government here in America is going to be there to monitor it, to make sure that whoever is get placed into power. One, I think it's a catch-22 thing. One, I think they're going to make sure that is put in leadership over that country is going to side with the United States. And two, I think they're going to make sure that someone is in there and is not going to be a dictator who's actually going to think about the Venezuelan people versus their own pocket. Um, you know, and I do believe that, uh, Trump might send another team in there just to clean up the loose ends because like we were saying earlier, the governors that were with uh I cannot pronounce his name. I always say Mufasa, Medusa
Maduro?
or whatever. Maduro. There we go, Maduro. Uh the generals and the soldiers and the politicians that were on his side, I think they need to go and clean them up as well. Because if you elect someone if someone in their political government starts to run for president and he starts throwing out all types of stuff, woos the people into voting for that person, he might get into power and do the exact same thing that this last guy just did. So I think the American government is going to be there to make sure that whoever's placed into power is going to, like I said, be in alliance with the United States and also alliance with the people. But I'm pretty sure they're going to make sure that they're aligned with USA first before they align with the citizens there in Venezuela.
All right. All right. A good take from my brother Jamon from AZ, my brother Elliot, law enforcement from NC. We got some really good takes here. We got brother Gino P from Uptown. He's got a clip for us in regards to answering the question, what now? Who governs? And what happens moving forward? Gino P, you got the floor, brother. Gino
Trump
P.
says the US is calling the shots. They won't just let anyone take over. But right now, there are three scenarios that could play out. First, of course, is the constitutional path. Venezuela's constitution has something called Article 233. It says if the president is in absolute absence, if the president is gone, then the vice president steps in. The VP becomes the temporary leader. Right now, that person is Delcy Rodriguez, which means technically she is now in charge. The rule book says she has to call for an election within 30 days, and whoever wins that election gets a full 6-year term as president. That's what the Constitution says. But things are not so cut and dry. And for the vice president, the most pressing question right now seems to be the status of Maduro. Listen to this.
In the face of this brutal situation and in the face of this brutal attack, we have no knowledge of the whereabouts of the President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady Celia Flores. We demand from the Donald Trump government immediate proof of life for President Maduro and the First Lady.
All right. Hold up, Gino
So
P.
they know that the US captured him, but they have no idea.
So this is a good clip. We're not done with it. This is a good clip. I just want to break down what we've heard thus far. So, Constitution, right? Venezuela also has part in the legal proceedings of what happens next. Constitutionally, it goes to the next person in power, vice president. She poses a good question. She's saying, "Hey, We need to make sure y'all didn't unalive him. Now, of course, Trump posted a picture, but that's not the same as, of course, like a video showing him eating mac and cheese or something like that. So, what's your take, Gino P, on what her position is, the female vice lady from Venezuela?
Well, you could hear it in her voice. You
Yeah,
could hear it in her
she's
voice.
upset. I think she's upset.
Yeah, you could hear it in her voice. Uh, you know, she's she's distraught, right? She feels disrespected,
I think,
and
yeah,
that's why,
probably.
I get the news not from CNN. I get this is world news, what the
For sure,
world is looking at,
for sure.
what the world is saying, not CNN, not you feel me, not no knock on them, shout out to CNN and everybody,
No,
but
you just want to
I
opinion.
get it from the world, what the world's perspective is, right? So, yeah, in her voice, she doesn't sound too happy.
No, well, I think I think we have to realize something, right? If she's vice president, Maduro's not going to have somebody who's, I mean, president and vice president, they run together, right? Like in America, they
Yeah.
campaign together. So he's not going to have somebody as his second who is in complete opposition of what his program is. Safe to say, right? She's not
Safe
going
to
to be in
say.
opposition of him if she's
No,
his vice
she's
president,
with
right?
it.
She's
She's
with
down.
it. So that begs the question then. Like I think it was Brother Elliot had said, that's something they have to watch as far as who comes into power next, and if they're going to be with the shenanigans. As
Well,
far as
she's in power.
right, right, but I'm so she's. I guess what I'm saying is she's under the same scrutiny perhaps as Maduro, right? Because Trump did leave it open and say, hey, we may not be done. We might have to call Delta Force back for round two, right? He left that open at the last thing we heard from the press conference. So my
Might be
point in
around
saying
two. Might be around two.
right. So my whole point in saying that is that if she is not with, if she's in direct opposition, which of course she is, of what the U.S. government has done, and she says, look, we're going to take the position that y'all are completely wrong, and we want to continue to keep things status quo. Now, their constitution said that there has to be election, right? Did I hear that right? There has to be an
There's
election
she's in charge, and
until
then
then.
until 30 days hence, elections should start.
Okay. So this is my question to everybody in the chat and my brothers on the panel. And we're gonna hear some more of this tape real quick. But her being in charge, her being in league with Maduro, that's not a stretch. Okay. We'll go ahead and count that as fact. She's his vice president. She's with whatever program he had going on. That being said, I'm not judging her or condemning her to anything, but it's safe to say if he has been accused of dictatorship by way of whatever rigged election, you can already see where I'm going with this. If she's going to be in charge of the next election and she was already cool with him rigging the election, then she's not going to want regime change just as much as Maduro did not want. Or maybe I'm wrong. So let me know you guys' opinion on that. We'll start with you, Gino P.
It's a quagmire, because you bring a good point. She's gonna push for her party to win.
For sure.
Being the opposition of Maduro, they are gonna wanna, right, win, but will the opposition of Maduro uh allow U.S. presence, right? That's the thing, because U.S. want to be present. It sounds like this lady don't want the U.S. to be present while they elect a new president.
Well, so that's a great point. And I'll ask this to Brother Elliot. And I'm sure you remember as well, Gino P. The times where U.S. had put in a president in other foreign countries,
Of
or put
course.
in right, a person to run opposition. So my point is, even if the person on the opposition in Venezuela is not directly put in um, by the U.S., if he says, "Hey, I'll play ball as long as you ensure, that my party wins this election," or even just the fact that you ensure that they're not allowed to swing the election in their direction. That might be a quick route to power for anyone who's in opposition to Maduro to say, I'll play ball with the US. Yeah, y'all can come in, y'all can stay, y'all can set up shop. As long as I get to go into power, we don't care.
Brother TNT, Brother Jaman, Elliot, everyone in the chat, and all the back people or background people. This is a bloody mess. He
It's a lot
Trump
going on.
Trump got himself in a, and not we're not even talking about what Congress thinks about this.
Yeah.
We haven't even went that route, right? Because Congress could be on another wave, not too happy. But
Facts.
this is a big mess as far as, it sounds like Venezuela don't want US to be involved with their next choosing of their next president. But,
Well, it's undoubtedly going to be mixed, Gino P, right? Because there's going to be those who are saying, "Hey, we want Maduro out. If
want
the U.S.
Maduro out.
Right, and if the U.S. helps us to make that happen, then sure, by all means." There's going to be others who say we want Maduro out, and we don't want the U.S. in either. We want to do our own thing. There's going to be those who are, in league with Maduro who say no, we're going to keep things going the way they have been going,
My
status quo.
goodness. Big mess. Three,
It, it,
three, three oppositions, three parties.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot
Hell
going
yeah.
on.
There's the one
Um,
party that's with Maduro and saying no,
right,
Maduro, the vice president should finish off Maduro's whatever. Then
right.
there's the other part that says no, we need a new president and we want American to help us. And then there's another group that might say no, we don't want America, but yeah, we need a new president, but we don't want America here.
Fair enough.
They call that the Trinity.
The
Three oh.
Trinity. It's a
Amen. The
big
message.
mess. Big mess.
So, Gino P brings up a good point in regards to people who are not happy about this, or people who are. So, this is fact checked from global outlets, including CNN and Fox, but other ones as well.
Right.
Um, in Venezuela, there's mixed reaction. Celebration in opposition areas, pro Maduro militias are patrolling in other areas.
My goodness.
Right. The diaspora in Miami and Chile erupted in joy. So diaspora, they're referring to, I think, the refugees and
Yeah, the
people.
ones that were fleeing from Maduro's
And again,
dictatorship.
that was a huge number.
Huge number.
7 million.
Oh,
7 million people left.
he
That's
was a
crazy.
wildcat. He was a wildcat.
He could be
I
a
mean,
bully too. That's what they call a bully.
Yeah, no, he was a wildcat.
they
He was a
wasn't
wildcat with his
leaving.
people.
Let's be honest. They didn't leave because things were okay. I
No,
mean,
no, no. He was foul. He was foul.
right, right.
He was foul.
So, um, now the Republicans are saying, um, that this was decisive. The House Speaker Mike Johnson, Senator Mike Lee questioned the legality of it, but he backed it post the press briefing. Democrats, of course, they are saying it's all about oil.
Yeah,
Representative
no,
Jasmine
100%. 100% is about oil.
Nancy Pelosi says it's a flagrant disregard for Congress. And of course, now there's protests planned across the U.S., though they weren't going to do that. Internationally, though, this is what's kind of interesting to me. Internationally, there's a lot going on. So the Allies condemn it. Um, Russia is in firm solidarity with what took place, meaning
Mhm.
they approve. Um, China says it's a blatant show of force. Um,
Watch out with China and Taiwan behind this. But go ahead,
well,
TNT.
yeah, because they're saying, "Hey, y'all didn't let us. You
Y'all didn't
know,
let us
y'all
take
didn't
over.
let us." So China's saying, "Hey, um, this is a blatant show of force." Iran calls it aggression. Brazil says it's an unacceptable line.
Mm.
Interesting take from Brazil in close proximity to Venezuela. Um, the UN chief, United Nations, says it's a dangerous precedent. I think echoing what my brother Gino P is saying, this sets the line, sets the precedent for something a lot more dangerous to come down the pipe from China or any other country that wants to say, "Oh, okay, that's how we're doing it." Okay. Um, Colombia's Petro was warned by Trump to watch his A
Watch his
over,
behind.
right over cocaine. UK said they're not involved. They said
Yeah, yeah, I heard the Prime Minister of UK. He said he
he was
said that off rip. He said, "Listen, I don't know nothing about it. All I can
that's
say is
y'all,
we weren't involved. It had
right?
nothing to do with us." He
Over
cleaned his
here
hand quick. He
for
he
sure,
cleaned his hand quick. Ponce's pilot in the house.
for sure. Um, but I mean, again, there's a lot of people pointing to the 7 to 8 million that fled. So they're saying good riddance to Maduro. This is just
Oh
overtaken.
yeah, I agree with that part. The good riddance. He had to leave yesterday. He had to leave yesterday. He had to bet, but just the way and the precedent that's being right, being done, the way it's being done, and by whom is being done
Yeah.
is
Well, that's the
just,
part that doesn't look so good, is because um, the markets regarding oil are stable due to global supply, but
mm,
um, per Trump, the U.S. troops are securing the oil sites, and an embargo is ongoing.
like, his first, in this press conference, he was talking about how Maduro had to come down, how he was so horrible for the people, how he did this, how he did that, and he pivoted right into, yeah, they didn't know how to do oil right. We got to go in there, do oil for them because they don't know how to oil right. We got to go in there and fix it all up for them. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta understand, Gino. They were negotiating with this guy. Like, if you lock yourself in a house, knowing you're doing wrong, and you barricade yourself in a house, and you have a negotiator, bro, X, Y, Z, this is what you want, yada 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 yada. You don't want it. There's two things going to happen. You're gonna kill yourself, or you're getting by force. That's it. It could
But
have been
brother,
done
but
yesterday.
brother Elliot, though, you know how many other dictators? What about the cats in Mexico that are
Yeah,
punch that are right? Like, why him and not, like we spoke earlier, Haiti?
yeah. But as I said, it's all around the board. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for all. I did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, for sure.
But the method is probably wrong. But something else to be done regardless.
And I agree with what Brother Elliot saying is like, look, what you do for one, you do for all
brother
of them.
Elliot, we can hear you. What you doing? Cutting your hair?
He's getting cleaned up.
Yeah.
He's shaving. No, we can hear it. We can hear it. But
Salute to
yeah,
him, bro.
brother. No, but like, why Maduro and not Captain Barbecue or the El Mancho from the Sinaloa, from over there, and
Barbecue is the craziest name.
yeah, who want to be ruled by a cat named Captain Barbecue? You know,
All right.
uh,
But no, I mean, a lot of these chats. I mean, you could probably seen them. I'm trying to cover them as best as I can. Best I
oh
can do
no,
is put
this
them up on the.
this there was a great take in the chat. Someone said, Venezuela is not Iraq. There's the Amazon forest and
Hmm.
the jungle. That's jungle country, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's not the same ballpark for sure. For
No,
sure.
but America's gonna have to go in there and yeah, they're gonna have to go in. They're gonna have to be around too, because the generals. I got another clip where uh the the the, the minister of defense, he's
Yeah.
not with it. Another general said we'll rather die.
Yo.
So
Then what?
it might get ugly.
Then to do what? I don't. What was the
No,
other?
that they willing to die for this. They not
Then
gonna
to,
let
then
America
to
come
do
in
a
and
long. Okay. Well, I mean, so like
they
like
ready.
and I'm sorry, brother Jamal. Go ahead. Did you have any thoughts on this?
Uh, yeah, I mean you know that's the reason why Trump wants to send around too, is because he knows that the people that was in office and in the what they would call Congress in Venezuela, he knows that they were on his side, Maduro's side. So it's like, why take him out and then leave it in the hands of the same people that was on his side? I think there's going to be a round two, and he's going to gather up the rest of them. So that way it could be a fair, somewhat fair. I can't say it will be 100% fair, because you got to remember that United States is going to do what's best in United States interest. And what's best in United States interest is that oil, of course, which is why I was saying earlier that they are going to make sure that someone that is going to align themselves with America, not just be good to the people, but they're going to make sure that whoever's in power is going to align themselves with America and perhaps start doing oil trades or selling oil to America only. Because you got to remember, they were selling oil to other countries, and who they say in America was saying they were selling to terrorist groups, things of that nature. So of course they're going to go in, they're going to first get the resource that they need, which is oil. Oil is money. And United, like I said earlier too, United States, Trump has to look at what's in the interest of America. He's not just going to go over there and say, "Oh, well, we're going to help these people just because I'm a nice guy." Uh, I doubt it. I heard about what happened in Nigeria, but that's because the media press was on him about that, so to speak. But other than that, if he's not, looked at about something, he's not going to do it unless it has a benefit to the United States, which is why he has to go in for round two, gather up those generals, gather up the vice president, gather up all the politicians, all the Congress, clean house, and get some new people in there that he knows will align himself with what he wants at the end of the day, which is that oil and the money. So that's my take on it.
So war.
Well, he already declared war against Venezuela. You got to remember that he
That's what I'm
signed.
saying. So it's gonna be war.
It's already signed
But
that there's war
a
going.
real war. I'm talking about, right, a war now.
Like
Yeah,
military.
A
yeah,
military campaign. A military campaign.
yeah. But I
Because
doubt Venezuela
the
is going
Venezuelans,
to.
the Venezuelans ain't just gonna lay down.
True,
Well,
true.
so
That is true.
It's gonna get ugly.
we got
Yeah.
brother in holiness. My fault, brother. I didn't see him in the back.
Gonna get ugly.
What's good,
And
brothers?
What's going
we
on,
got
Oh,
brother?
yeah.
It's
What's up?
gonna get ugly, and yeah, it's a huge
here's the other
gamble.
thing,
It's
though.
a huge gamble.
People are saying he didn't need congressional approval because it wasn't quote unquote an act of war.
I don't know. Ask the
Oh,
Congress. We got to look at what Congress have to say about it. If Congress is cool with it, then he didn't break
Well,
it.
yeah.
But if Congress definitely hop on it, he could probably get in trouble for it.
What's good,
well,
brothers?
shout out to my brother in holiness. God bless you, brother.
Now, one
God
one
bless you,
one
brother.
one 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 take that's been in the chat, moreover, is the
Mhm.
take of Trump, his hypocrisy, right? Because he's talking about, well, Venezuela, and they were pumping in cocaine. But the take that brothers and sisters were putting in the chat was, what about the Honduran president? That he was caught, and I believe he transported a total of 400 tons of cocaine in his tenure, and he was arrested just like Maduro, but
Yeah.
he allegedly paid and he was pardoned.
Mm.
So, in one
And
hand, you got one president who was arrested for the same thing, sent more drugs than Maduro allegedly, and was pardoned. So there was a lot. Yeah, that's one of
yeah,
the takes. That's one of the takes in the chat. They want to know, it's You know,
Yeah, I want to give my take, brothers, on real quick on that.
For sure.
As a
and real
person
quick,
that
real
as
quick, twin.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Just to inform you, it's tricky. Cocaine, the cocaine of 2026, it has fentanyl in it. Just to you know,
Uh-oh.
it does have fentanyl in it. Newsflash. But go ahead, twin.
no, I mean, I was gonna say, like, as a person that comes, well, my family comes from another country as well too. So
Mhm.
I'm not just here from the U.S. as well. So I could definitely say, like, no matter whatever Trump wants to say and is his reasoning, because there's many countries out here with some form of corruption. There's many. Like Venezuela is not the only one. So I look at it. I have to go and say, like, I look at myself as being an American, right? And say, like, what if it was us and there was another country that had more greater power than we did here in the U.S. Would it be right for them to come in, take out our president, you know what I mean, and his wife, or the higher powers, and for this, just for the whim of it, just to say that you can do it and say that you have the power to make a judgment? You understand? To say, you know what, they were doing this, this, and this is for the greater good. I don't think that, no, you as a president, you don't have that power to say what's good and what's evil. And there's also certain type of um avenues that you can go through. Like, for instance, we have the UN. And when some countries are doing, like, very wicked, they go through the UN and they say, hey, these people doing something that is extremely diabolical, and we need to go over there, and we're gonna have to do something and take them out. But for you to go there and just boom, go over there to a country and take over a whole country and try to take over its people and say you're gonna put certain people in place just to dictate and do certain things like that, no, I think that's great evil to me. Because, like I said, I'm looking at it like, here, the U.S. If someone came here and took over our country, we will be raising up. We will rise up and be like, yo, no, who are you? You're gonna come tell me now this is what I have to do, or regardless of the resources and etc. You feel me? So it's just crazy, you know?
Fascism 101.
Oh yeah.
Fascism 101. The strong take over the weak, and then they make up cockamamie excuse.
Yeah,
We all know what Hitler said.
yeah.
His excuses, his excuses to take over. We all know what Mussolini said, and his excuses to take over countries. So,
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people are just trying to say, "Oh, Trump is right for this. He's right for that. He's right for this. Oh, he's doing it for the greater good." No, he's not, because we would not accept that here in America. If another foreign country came here and took over, we wouldn't talk about us for the oil and the management, or even if you want to barricade us, and it's not going to be about that. We would be like, okay, we're going to be crying, talking about we want our freedom. Why should this country come over and dictate what's going on over here? Regardless, there's avenues to go through that. If you have a strong dictator or someone that's there that's doing from a wickedness, like someone said, that's not Iraq over there. It's not Iraq. It's
Right.
over strictly resources and money and power. So if that was the case, there's ways to do it. And that's why I said Trump.
it's gonna get
That's
ugly.
evil.
It could get ugly, man.
It,
It,
it
it
really
could
But
could.
get
that's
ugly.
the
I
difference,
hope
though.
it don't. I hope it don't, because right, the U.S. soldiers, they are brothers and sisters. We don't want to see them go over there and get unalive on the whim
Yeah,
of some nut.
exactly.
And I don't want to see no Venezuelan brothers and sisters and their army having to pass away because of another nut. But I just hope this works out. But it just looks horrible. And
What's going
if
on?
this was his way to pivot from the Epstein files, my lord.
No, I doubt that, because this was something that was brought up, This is Sever. If he wanted to, there's no way he could pivot from the files. No way. You
No,
know,
there was
and I think he knows that, which is why he's not really addressing it head on. He just said, "All right, here's the files. Do what you want with them. Read them. If you find videos of me, oh well, that was in the past. I never liked
nah.
the guy.
He wasn't
Yada
saying
yada
that.
yada."
He wasn't
Yeah.
saying that. He wasn't saying nah. If y'all find it, nah. He wasn't saying that.
Yeah, I know he wasn't saying that, but that was his attitude almost, because when they asked him, they said, "Well, what about this video of you partying with them?" He's all, "Well, I never really liked the guy. I never really liked the
All
guy. He wasn't my kind of people, and he left it at that. Never explained, well, why did you invite him to your party? Why did you know him? And if you knew him, you had to have known he was doing that dirt stuff, because that's what he was known for. But again, he pushed it to the side. And, I can't say that, he had full connection with the man, but he knew the man and he knew what he was about. And he still invited that person to an event of his. But no, but back on the topic though, Twin, you were saying, what if some country came over here and tried to do that? Well, my thing is, as corrupt as America is, we do have a certain level of freedom that not a lot of countries have. And we do run a different program than Venezuela. Venezuela, like there's people in Venezuela that is happy that this dude is gone because he is a dictator. He wasn't voted in. He just came and said, I'm your leader. Follow me or not. Follow me or die, pretty much, or be unalive.
He
Sorry.
actually he inherited the dictatorship from the last dictator when he passed.
So, I mean, either way it go, you have people fleeing the country.
Yeah, but my thing is
He
too,
could
like, I
because he could
understand
have
that,
inherited
but
and said, you know what, I'm going to inherit this, but I want to be fair to the people. What do you think about it? Let's have a
No, he
vote
was
on it.
horrible. He was horrible.
He
yeah,
was
yeah,
horrible.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Like
So it's
He
like,
was horrible.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm just
He
saying,
was a horrible
why
guy.
does
Don't think that we over here saying,
yeah.
hey,
We're not agreeing with him, but
Maduro was the worst.
I'm just saying, why does America have that power? Why do you think that?
So
well,
let
nobody should have that power. Nobody. But as we all know, we live in a world where there's this power hungry nations. So looking at it's like this: when you look at a lion in the wilderness, you know that lion is going to behave in the manner of a lion. You're not going to look at a lion and expect it to behave like a warthog or a giraffe. You're going to expect that lion to be a lion, and you have to understand that and just make your moves based on the knowledge of that type of animal. And America is the same way.
And
America
and,
is
and that's
power
and that's
hungry.
why I brought up
Is a
my
power
point.
hungry country.
That's why I brought up my point as coming from another country, right? That's
Yeah,
why, because most Americans never come from another country, so they never really experience what it is to be out there and in the eyes of from being on the outside out looking in.
true,
So,
true.
and that's the
Yeah,
reason why I say that. So it looks like a country that thinks they're greater than anybody else can come and look at another country and say, "Oh, you know what? You guys are Neanderthals. You're a third world country. Um, let me go over there and put some get right over there. Y'all acting like savages. You understand?" And that's the reason
yeah,
why I say that. That's what it looks like from,
it
because
does.
even if it was me, if it was Jamaica, I would say the same thing right now. I was like, what? Why he want to go over there for, regardless, because some of our politicians are corrupt over there. And I'd be like, yeah, we need to take them out, put some other people in.
what
But if
about
Trump
Europe?
did the same thing, I would say the same thing.
Fair.
because
That's fair.
because it's still a country. You can't go there and invade another person's rights. Yeah, we have freedoms,
True,
but our freedoms were
true.
fought over blood. And with the reason why, there's a reasons why we have certain freedoms here. And America isn't another country. You can't go to North Korea and use the same type of understanding in North Korea that you're using in America. You get
True.
messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why I was saying every country has their right.
regardless of whether we feel like it's wicked or not. You still have to go through the protocols to take a person, off of that office. You can't
Yeah.
just invade the next man's country and say, all right, yo, we're doing this for the greater good. No, we can't do that. And that's all
Yeah,
I'm really
you're
trying
right.
to say.
Right. And but that's something that
But yeah,
nations
brother.
have been
But I agree
doing
with you.
for,
And then, like I said, you're right. He was mad evil. That dude was
yeah,
wicked. But I feel like
yeah,
if he's wicked, it's like I said, I know there's certain peoples in my country that I'm like, yo, somebody need to come get them out of here. But I could look at it like, yo, we still have to go through the protocol.
we
No
gotta
one should
go
come
through
over
about it
here
the right
making no
way.
coup,
I
taking
agree.
this
We
per
have to go
right. No,
through
that
it.
shouldn't be a thing because I would not respect that. And for like I think was it Henry Ross said it. If China came over here, which they do got some manpower, and they did that, we were like, no, who are you trying to tell us here in the U.S. as Americans what we're supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's all I'm really trying to say. So that's why I say it looks crazy on his part.
yeah.
So let me say this real quick, my
Yeah,
brothers.
man,
Let me say this real
it's
quick.
wild.
Uh, One thing that I'm real shocked about is this poll, right? So I got a poll going in the chat. Over 800 people have voted, and it's still about a 50-50 split in regards
Man,
to do you agree with President Trump's decision? So there's a lot of yeses, a lot of nos, and some people may say yes and no, which is fair enough. Um, we've been seeing a lot going on in the chat. Trump is a hypocrite. America is corrupt. Uh, Other people are saying, hey, he's a dictator. He needs to be out of there. His drugs are impacting our country. It was justified. Um, you know, there's a lot going on for sure. So I'm going to replay this clip. My brother Gino P has a follow-up clip that we're going to take a look at. But this first clip that I'm going to play is you guys hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, if you will, in regards to President Trump coming out and listing, detailing what happened, why it happened, and his justification for it. And so we're going to play this short clip real quick. This is President Donald Trump detailing how Maduro was captured and the takeover of Venezuela.
Okay, thank you very much. This is big stuff. We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off. due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence.
Okay, so you heard directly from Trump.
Yep.
He,
All right, I'm
him,
back,
and
fellas.
his wife. Oh, perfect timing, Gino, because I wanted to cue up your clip as well. But we just heard directly from Trump that um, Maduro and his wife Flores were both indicted for their participation in narco terrorism. You know, um, so he's saying that there's evidence, there's facts, there's documentation of their crimes. Obviously, he said they're facing American justice. Now, a lot of people argue in the chat: does American justice trump another country's constitution? And
Hmm.
that's what the issue is, I think, right, Gino P?
Yeah,
Um,
that's the precedent that's being set. Maybe yes, Maduro. He was a horrible guy. Maduro, yes, he needed to get toppled. I agree with all that. But
toppled.
how? Yeah, he needed to get toppled. He was a horrible guy. But just the way that it was done,
Yeah,
creeping into another country, another sovereign country, and doing this,
he
you
drugged this
know,
man out of bed.
drug him out of bed, and not only him, his wife also.
My lord.
Um, you know, and we see how China is salivating for Taiwan, and we see other countries thinking they could do the same. Putin with Ukraine, the Taliban and Pakistan were at each other's throat over border is disputes late last year. Also, Cambodia and Thailand were at each other's throat over border disputes. This sets a precedent, you know, that it's been seen before, but it's been a while.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem. Let me just give this hot take real quick. Um, the opinion it seems like across the panel is that yes, Maduro absolutely needed to be removed from power. Needed to happen yesterday. I agree with that statement from my brother Gino P. Um, the other side of that to balance that out is the precedence that it sets is that American justice, as you just heard from Trump, trumps perhaps international laws or another country's constitution. And that's the part where, we're asking the point, case in point, do you agree that with the way it was done? Yes, the dictator needed to be removed. Yes, he was horrible to the 7 to 8 million people that left the country. They left for a reason. But do you agree with the way it was done? Some brothers and sisters in the chat said, "Hey, he was given it out. He was told to comply and to come willingly." Others are saying, "Well, it was his right not to do so." I guess it all boils down to this one simple fact: um, who was going to stop America from doing it?
Hmm.
That's really what it boils down to. As unfair as that sounds,
Yeah.
I mean, it is
You
what it
know,
is.
you
Who's
know,
gonna?
Russia, Russia, and Iran are close with Venezuela. How close, I don't know. Now, if this was Cuba, you know, but again, Russia's entangled with a conflict with its neighbor over there with Ukraine. So I don't know how much they didn't even help out Syria when their dictator got toppled in the summertime. So
Well, remember they took out is that who you're talking about?
the dictator from Syria, oh man, Bashar something. Him and yeah, yeah. When they toppled him, Russia
Yeah,
couldn't help.
Bashar al-Assad.
Bashar, yeah, him. Uh, 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 Russia couldn't help him, and Iran got to build up his nuclear plants, right? Because Trump destroyed them. So ain't no one backing up Venezuela right now, except for Venezuelans, right? The certain generals that are vowing revenge and right and are saying we not gonna take it.
Yeah. Well, even with Syria, just because you brought that up, P, the point I guess is, do other countries' constitutions, right, their laws come into play? Because according to Syria's constitution, Assad is still in power until 2028.
No word.
That's just according to what their constitution says. Even though, of course, there's a civil war and all that other stuff, but
Right.
yeah, that's what their constitution says.
Right,
Um,
because you just said it, right? Civil War. Before America, yes, it always stuck its nose in other countries' politics, but it did it in a way that they never send the troops over there, but they will back up. For instance, uh, like in for instance, let me bring up a good example of the U.S. The Contras in Nicaragua.
hmm,
The U.S. was backing up the Contras in the Civil War against the
yeah,
Nicaraguan government. They used to do it like that, slick stuff.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
when Chile had their president,
Well, they did it.
United
More,
States,
they did it a lot of times. A lot of times they
yeah,
did it.
a lot of time. Like I was saying, in Chile, they had the president, and they backed up Pinochet. So and Pinochet did a
Well, that's what
coup
I was
with
saying,
the
though.
backing of the United States.
If they back up the opposition to, not to cut you off, but if they back up opposition to Maduro, and the opposition says, "Fine, that's great, we'll do it," sponsor it, then for the people, say the opposition's been there for the past 5 years trying to become elected, trying to overthrow the ruling party, unsuccessfully, of course. But then America comes in and then they succeed. Now, you know what I mean? Like, that's where
Yeah,
people are going
they've
to
done that before. They've done that
exactly.
before.
That's what I'm saying. They've done that. It's been done. But is it right or wrong, given the fact that what was in place was a dictatorship? And I think what my brother Gino P is saying is, let the Civil War play out, maybe first.
Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be. I hope it doesn't. United States has enough clout to, just walk in there and rough and mess, and play rough shot, right, and call the shots.
I don't think
So,
war is good though. I'm not. I
huh?
know you don't agree with that, but I'm saying if it takes civil war to get a dictator out, I don't know if that's exactly good for the people either,
Yeah,
right?
like I said, this could get crazy.
Right. Well,
It
I
could
guess
get
I guess
crazy.
what I'm saying is, if someone's looking at this and they said, okay, look, you guys are saying Maduro has to get out, and he was in power, so he had a stronghold on, right, the government.
Right.
So he's not going to give up his power willingly. He inherited it from a different dictator. He's probably going to hold it till he could pass it along to whoever, right? So then they say, okay, with what method did you want him to get out of office? He wasn't going to give it up, so one of two things was going to happen: either civil war, which some people may say is unlikely because of him again being in power, so not allowing it to even stir up enough, right? If you don't allow the opposition to gain enough power to even pose a threat, then you prevent civil war. So that's one option, right? Civil war, he's overthrown, or something like this, Delta Force. the dark of the night, pulled from your sheets, and now you're somewhere. I mean, that's what it is, though. I mean, they came in,
But
you know,
the vacuum now, the power vacuum that's left,
what that was going to happen.
right? So the
That was,
opposition, the opposition, they might lean to Trump, to America, for help.
I was just going to say the power vacuum would have happened anyway if it was a civil war, right? Because now everything's up in the air, like we've seen in the past. When somebody, when whoever's in power gets pulled out, either it's I forgot the word when the military takes over, a coup.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, whatever means of it being a coup, civil war, whatever. When they're pulled out of power as a dictatorship, there's always that vacuum, one way or another, right?
There's a vacuum now.
No, I
You don't
know.
know.
I'm just saying. Regardless of the method, whenever a dictator is gone, that's what happens,
Yeah,
right?
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not condoning America saying our policy is to go in and do whatever we want in your country. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying others are looking at it as maybe the lesser of two evils
Yeah, you
because
Yeah.
the
know.
alternative is to leave him in there.
Believe me, the Maduro's opposition, they feeling themselves right now.
They probably handed
Yeah.
him. I mean, like you said, they was there was people that obviously worked with America to make this happen.
Yeah, there are
So
people right now from the opposition of Maduro that are feeling this, and they with it.
Yeah.
And then there's that other group that are saying, no, we could have toppled them ourselves. We don't need America to topple them. And
eh,
then there's the other group that says, Maduro, he's our president, and the Constitution says such and such and such a thing. So it's a big mess.
right. Well, shout out to Slither Gaming. He said the government had no business. He's talking about U.S. government to do a speed extraction upon a foreign nation, especially under the context it was done to do regime change for resource arrangements. And I agree with Slither Gaming. Obviously, in any other country that would have been an act of war, right? But
Mhm.
Trump is saying, "Hey, look, he was taken for reasons of indictment, so pretty much extradited to
Mhm.
stand trial." Now, that's kind of like when they were trying to extradite Putin, I believe, for a
Yeah,
while.
they try they try to rock him to sleep. That's true.
Yeah.
They
Remember, they
try
were
to
like, "Oh, if we see you, you're going to stand trial, right?" And
they try to rock
the
him to
countries
sleep.
where he visited, they were like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to be taking him." So
Mhm.
it's like I said, it boils back down to the original case in point. Who who was going to stop America from doing so? Could
Yeah,
anyone have stopped America from doing so?
not in the Western
I don't.
Hemisphere. No.
I don't
Right.
think so.
And the,
There's
They
no.
did have problems, right, Jamon?
Yeah. I mean, I doubt Russia would come into play and say, "Hey, don't do it." I doubt any
Nobody.
powerhouse country would have came and say, "Trump, don't do that." If anything, they'd be like, "Hey, that's your business." you
That's what
know,
I'm saying. Nobody wants
You
that
know,
smoke to say,
nobody
nah,
wants that.
but it could set the precedent. Yeah, that's your business. But when I do it, don't ask me for don't
And
ask me.
that's what I was going to say earlier too. This event right here could be like throwing the rock in the pond. Now, how big the rock and how small the pond, we don't know yet. But this could start a chain of events that could lead to other countries doing the exact same thing that Trump is doing with Venezuela. So this is scary in a way. But
For sure.
but yeah, when other countries start to do it, is Trump going to say the exact same thing? Hey, that's your business, or are we going to step in like how America usually does? America is known for stepping into business that they have no business in.
That's what a lot of
One
people
thing
do.
I one thing I can say about Trump, besides this Venezuela incident, he has been doing the best to get out of situations like the Russia and Ukraine situation. He himself, is trying to diffuse it, but he's not trying to send resources, or he's not trying to send troops to diffuse the situation. He's trying to use his negotiation skills as a businessman to do so. But as far as as the United States as a whole, they're known for getting into people's business, but again, this could set a ripple effect for other powerhouse countries to do the exact same thing, and for them to look at Trump and say, "Hey, look, we didn't get on you about going over there and doing what you had to do to Venezuela," and it is a tough situation, because we all know that man had to get out of power, but it's the how was he going to get out of power? Someone had to pull a mission, and to touch on the vice president, I could see why she was upset. I mean, you come in, you cut the power off, and then the lights come on, and all you see is bodies on the floor. That'd make anybody upset. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, as you're leaving, you're dropping bombs on the airport to make sure nobody comes after you or leave. You know what I mean? So I could see why she is very emotional right now. It's not like they went in there with one team, secretly snatched them and got them out of there without nobody knowing. No, they killed the power to the whole city, it sounds like, and went in there, did their thing, and then when they cut the lights back on, it was blood in the streets, so I can see why, she would be very emotional about that. Anybody would feel a certain type of way of another country coming into their country and, essentially executing many people, you know what I mean, just to get one person for their gain. Because again, the Venezuelan government is not looking at this person as a harm to their country, but yet they know it's a harm to United States country, and yeah, this is a mess. I pray that doesn't expand, but again, it's one of those things where it has to be done, but it's like, how it's done is what really matters.
Yeah, big gamble for Trump. Let's see how it pans out for him.
Yeah.
He knows he ain't coming back. So he probably wilding right now, and in this time I'll do anything.
Well, so let me read this comment real quick, and then we'll go to your video, Gino P. And I appreciate my brothers. We're gonna knock off here in a minute. It's been a good conversation. 79 Bandit. He said, "Well, I guess you are forgetting how many countries other presidents have pushed out. This was necessary. Get over it. This is an in-your-face move that we need to continue." So a lot of people are saying, in regards to being in agreement with him, that in the Western Hemisphere, kind of like what Jamal was saying and Gino P, this is our neck of the woods, right? So there's nobody going to step in because we are the ones who are controlling more or less the international landscape as the power head in this area of the world. I understand what they're saying, kind of like, obviously,
the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine.
Well, I mean, it's just it's unfortunate, but that is the way things are, and that's why I said
the Monroe Doctrine.
Point.
The Western Hemisphere belongs to the United States.
Well, who's going to stop them? That was my question. There was nobody in place, and there stands nobody in place that can or will stop America from doing something like this over here. Now, of course, if they went over to try to do that in Asia,
in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Right, right. There's a problem. But over here, where you can make a quick entry and exit again within 3 hours,
Yeah.
you can't even fly over here from over there in the eastern hemisphere without it would have already been done. Wouldn't have been nobody to even.
But actually, I don't think America hasn't won a war in the Eastern Hemisphere in a long, long time.
Well, I think that's the point, is that they control what's in their backyard, right? You control your backyards as the big dog. So that's where other people are saying that's what justifies it. Other countries have done it, and we're doing it for the betterment of our people.
But it set a precedent. It says a precedent that in the future,
Yeah.
it could happen to America.
Well, that's the part where, again, being the big dog in the hemisphere, there's no country currently that could stand to do such a.
Like the false prophet says, what goes up must come down.
No, I agree. There's going to be
there's gonna be a time that America ain't gonna stay on top forever.
No, but that's
every
where
empire has its fall, but I don't think it's no time soon. We won't see that for sure.
I'll be resting. I'll be resting when it happens.
Yeah,
but
we ain't gonna see that for sure.
And it may not even be until the Lord comes, but it will happen at some point. To that though, I want to let my brother Gino P play this video before we knock off. This is response from the international community, right? From
international news covering this incident, and the reporter brought up the Constitution of Venezuela, and
Okay, so go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll give some more feedback, and
might have to do a part two. Might have to do a part two when more information comes out.
For sure, part two, for sure.
About his whereabouts or his condition. Meanwhile, Delcy Rodriguez has not taken charge yet. She's not even talked about it. Then there's Venezuela's defense minister. His name is Vladimir Padrino Lopez. He has called the U.S. attack an invasion, and he has rejected foreign military presence in his country.
The free, independent, and sovereign Venezuela rejects with all its strength the presence of these foreign troops that have left death, pain, and destruction in their path. To re-establish order and peace, we will activate throughout all the geographical national space. With perfect popular, military, and policing fusion, we have placed in operation massive deployment of all the terrestrial, aerial, naval, river, and missile armed systems for defense.
So are we then looking at a military takeover in Venezuela? At this point, the military is the most armed and the most organized institution in the country. And if they believe a political transition would be chaotic, they may step in, maybe as the interim power brokers, and it wouldn't be new to this region. Latin American politics has seen many military-led transitions, sometimes short, sometimes longer than expected. But apart from Maduro's ministers and military, there's also a third player in this game, and that is the Venezuelan opposition, or whatever is left of them. The opposition is fractured, but they're all backing one candidate, Edmundo González Urrutia. They say he is the legitimate president, but Edmundo is not in Caracas right now. He is in exile in Spain. And he's not some political novice. This man is a former ambassador, a negotiator, a political figure with international support. And the opposition is rallying behind him. One of his backers is Maria Corina Machado. If the name sounds familiar, it's because she won the Nobel Peace Prize this year. She is one of the biggest voices of the Venezuelan opposition. And Donald Trump likes her. After all, she dedicated her Peace Prize to Trump. Last month, Machado was in Oslo to receive her Nobel. And she spoke to the press there. This is what she said.
I would say to all citizens of the world in this hour, and I assure you that I am very hopeful Venezuela will be free, and we will turn a country into a beacon of hope, an opportunity of democracy, and we will welcome not only the Venezuelans that have been forced to flee, but citizens from all over the world that will find a refuge as Venezuela used to be decades ago.
Machado also said that she and her movement were preparing for a transition. They believed that the Maduro regime was in danger and they were preparing for what was coming next. She also confirmed something else, that Gonzalez offered her the role of vice president in a future civilian government. So if he takes over as president, if Gonzalez takes over as president, Machado could be the vice president. Now, we don't know if that agreement still stands, but that's what she said last month. Now, let's assume that the opposition does take over. They take charge of the country and the police and the military support them. The opposition, in fact, claims that this will happen and that the security forces will switch sides. If that happens, the current regime may not even make it to the elections. Senior officials could either resign or leave the country even before a vote takes place. There are a lot of ifs and a lot of uncertainty, and that's where Venezuela is right now. The attacks and the arrest have created a vacuum. It's not clear who will fill it. So this is not the end of the crisis. This is just the beginning of it.
All right,
the world doesn't fit in.
That's a good clip, bro. It's
Yeah,
a good
that's a
clip.
good one. Yeah. But
He's
like you
touching on a
see,
lot of.
they already getting ready to put, you can see already who they're trying to put into power in Venezuela. You know, that's what they're pushing for, is I guess those two people. But as you can see, they're not aligned with the former president. You know, they're opposed to him. So yeah, I think it might be a round two. And when they get done with that round two, they're going to put those two people in power because they have alignment with America. They like Trump. You know, I was saying that earlier. They're going to try to put someone into power that's going to align themselves with America. And those look like the two top candidates right there.
Yikes.
I hope there's not a round two, because I remember a time where Venezuela was a different country. It was a rich country, and it is a rich country. It just had a
Yeah.
lot of nuts ruling it, from Hugo Cesar Chavez and now Maduro, right? It's two back-to-back nuts running the country. Yeah, you're gonna run it to the ground. But Venezuela's a beautiful country, a rich country in resources. So I
Yeah.
hope they bounce back from, what happened, and
For sure.
and we forget about this in a couple of weeks. And yeah,
For sure. Brother Elliot, I see you came on back. What's your final thoughts on this, my brother?
Well, very interesting. I like to see what's gonna happen next, but I have a mixed feeling about this either way
For sure.
because somebody had to do something. We can only say because we're not inside what's going on. So when it's foot and the shoe is on the other foot, I mean, we could say whatever, but you know, there gotta be a reason why this happened.
Yeah.
But
Well,
obviously,
something had to give.
if this guy was acting on good faith and doing what he was supposed to be doing, this would have happened. So
That's a good
I
point.
mean, people had enough.
he
It's
he
us-
he reaped
people have
he reaped what he
speculation.
sowed. He
I
reaped
mean,
what he sowed.
as I said, all of these things take time. You just don't take like overnight. There's investigation. There's documents review. There's stuff that happened that we don't know. So
Yeah.
somebody had to do it, regardless.
He
Some people gonna
definitely
be happy. Some people not gonna be happy. This is what happened. This is just the way
no,
it is.
Maduro definitely reaped what
That's
he
my take
sowed.
on that.
He definitely reaped what he sowed. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I think the gist of it, I agree with Brother Elliot. Something had to give. Tensions were mounting. They were going back and forth, Trump and Maduro. So this was the outcome of it. Trump saw a green light and he took it.
Yeah, because how many fathers did Maduro wake up at middle of the night and put in prison?
This is a good point. That's a good point.
You know.
Well, Jamon, what's your final take on this, and then we'll close with Gino P.
Yeah, man.
At the end of the day, the Lord's will, it will be done. All of this was prophesied beforehand, and we're just in the midst of it. Regardless of what happens, Bible says the king's heart is in the Lord's hands. So all this needed to happen for prophecy to come true. And all we could do is just sit back and, pray that it doesn't get bad. But at the end of the day, this is all part of the Lord's will. I feel bad for those who lost people in the Delta mission, and then on the other side, I'm happy that other people are free of dictatorship, and like I said, we just have to sit back and watch and wait what happens to see whether this goes any further. I do believe it is going to get worse, then it's going to get better. But that's just my opinion. All I could do is sit back and pray for the people that lost family members, and be happy for the people who are free. So that's my ending words on it. And yeah.
Wonderful. I appreciate you, brother, for joining. I appreciate my brother Elliot, as always, for joining.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
brother. Peace, man. It was a wonderful discussion, TNT. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. I
You know,
appreciate you as well.
You're very welcome, my brother. I appreciate y'all, and I'm honored to have you back, Lord willing, for a part 2. Most definitely.
Yeah, part 2.
Gino P, what's the final word from Uptown, brother?
Man, well, what the poll said? What's the final say of the poll?
Oh yeah, let's close out the poll. This is crazy.
What the poll say, man?
Out of over 970 votes, so almost 1,000. Excuse me, almost 10,000 people.
Jeez,
almost 1,000 people. Pardon me,
Lord.
almost 1,000 people. Still 50-50 split. 51% yes, 49% did not agree with President Trump's decision.
So 49. Look, man.
Give Life is asking that question that you asked a while back, Gino P.
Yeah.
China has the right to attack Taiwan, then, is what y'all are saying?
Nah, who y'all? Who y'all?
Let them know who y'all.
Yeah, who is the y'all in that statement right there? But yeah, yeah, Taiwan got to be, well, not shaking in his boots, right? Because they have their own military, but they got to be weary.
Well, I mean,
what just happened.
Taiwan doesn't have a dictator, do they?
Nah, but China says that Taiwan is part of them. So
right.
They could say, well, your president ain't your real president. I'm your president. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
They could say, that the president that Taiwan has is a fake president.
You're right, because they're saying they're rebelling.
Yeah.
TNT.
Yes,
But when you look at the whole picture, right? I'm gonna go on the law enforcement side. Me and you could commit the same crime, right? I get 5 years, you get life. Do you know what the difference is?
What?
The situation. Not we have the same crime, but the situation is different.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Situation is different.
Always going to be situation. It's going to be different. There's one key point in that situation that separate you from getting life, and me and getting 5 years.
Right. Yeah. No. The details. I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So what Trump's doing to him? Investigation, communication. They know what's going on. We don't know, but it was enough for him to say, enough is enough. Plus, they give this guy plenty of options, and he rejects every single one of them.
Yeah,
Right.
but I would
Knowing,
have rejected him too, brother Elliot. Because come on, man. You
yeah,
know,
but how long can you for long the cat in your house eating your food? How long will you let if the cat eat your food before you say,
but,
okay, enough is
you
enough?
know, are these allegations of him being in charge of the boat?
Mm,
I don't like.
okay.
I know he was wicked, and yeah, he probably had his cut and turned a blind eye to his generals pushing out, right, and being in. But for him to, and to be accused for sending the Venezuelan gangs out here, that's a reach. I don't think he was involved with,
Yeah,
he was a dictator, and Trump wanted him out. That's it. Just be plain,
yeah.
and don't beat around the bush. And uh U.S. Helping out the oil infrastructure in Venezuela is gonna bring a lot of money to Trump and his cronies. Just make it plain. You don't got to beat around the bush and bring up trumped up charges on the man. Just say
Yeah.
I wanted him out because I want to put some money in my pocket with this oil they got.
But as I
And
say, it has to
who's
be
gonna
some
stop me?
definite evidence.
And
But
then
I'm
on
sure
top
there's
of that,
some definite.
he's gonna say, and who's gonna stop me?
That's the real question. Who's going to stop him? And
Yeah,
right now, we know nobody's stopping the U.S.
Yeah,
from doing what they want to do.
make it plain. You don't
yeah.
got to beat around the bush. And he did it. It set a precedent though, because other countries might want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see that there's the difference, right? Um, Other countries can be stopped.
Depends.
I mean,
But
depends on the country for sure, but
yeah,
no one. Yeah, there's powers that rival the U.S., but nobody is going to jump into a.
he won't. I don't think he'll do that to Cuba.
Well, I don't. That's what I'm saying. But if another, say, a smaller country wanted to do what the U.S. did to their neighboring country, but they can be stopped by the bigger fish in their
Oh, okay.
hemisphere.
I get you. I get
Yeah,
you.
that's what I'm saying
Yeah, the
Yeah.
unknown is very hard. The unknown is what scares people. The unknown.
for sure.
Yeah.
For
Because you
sure.
don't know what America is capable of doing based on what you know of them. And
Well,
vice versa. Yeah.
brothers, sisters, and all those in the chat, the 300 of y'all that are watching, the 38,000 that have viewed it, we appreciate this wonderful, wonderful conversation. I
It's
appreciate my brothers. Very, very good takes, wonderful takes, honest commentary, very informative. It's always good to get different opinions, to get different angles on the same situation. Because again, the 1,000 people that came across this broadcast, they're split. Who cared to vote? 38,000 have seen it, but the 1,000 that cared to vote, they're 50-50 split. So chances are the country is the same way. Chances are the world might be the same way. From what I can see, it is. Some agree that it was necessary, not that it was necessary, but some agree that it was rightfully done. Some agree that it was wrongfully done. At the end of the day, of course, us here in Holiness, we let God be the judge.
yeah.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen.
You
Our
know,
brothers in the chat, I appreciate y'all, man. It's a wonderful
chat,
conversation.
chat was jumping. Shout out to them. Shout out to the background people. And yeah, man, it's a good episode. What I said last time we spoke, TNT. I said we live in a microwave time. Everybody, Epstein files. The Epstein file feel like a last year
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's facts. But that was the last
Facts.
episode, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Facts.
ain't
You're
gonna.
right.
They're not gonna bring that up no more. Epstein files done and buried.
Hmm.
It's gonna be Venezuela for the next month.
Yeah.
All eyes on Venezuela. Well, TNT, everyone in the chat, brothers in the panel, background people, keep me in prayer. Pray for one another. Pray for Apostle Gino Jennings and the ministers that labor alongside with him. Until next time, TNT, you doing something late night Holiness after hours?
Lord willing, one of the TNT juniors fell sick. So
Okay.
we'll see what happens. You know, keep him in prayer.
No doubt, no doubt.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah,
All
for
right,
real.
brothers. Till next time, man. Peace out. Peace, chat.
All right, brother.
Peace, peace.
Peace,
Peace,
my
brothers.
brothers.
God bless
LP,
everybody.
brother Jamon, brother Elliot. God bless y'all.
God bless you, brother. Peace, brothers.
Well, you know, to those in the chat, it's safe to say there's going to be a lot of mixed opinions, a lot of mixed emotions on this particular topic. With what happened or what's going to happen, one thing we know for sure, amidst all the facts and fictions that are unfolding, is that the Lord is always in control of everything, and nothing comes to pass that is against his will. And so, in that, we can rest assured and leave it in God's hands. Amen.